Hello and welcome to Learn, Do, Become Radio. I'm April Perry, and today we're talking about lists that work with our humanness. If you're brand new to Learn, Do, Become, we help people who are overwhelmed by the details of life to create simple systems so they can do what matters most. And if right now you're in any state of overwhelm and you want to feel calm, today we're talking about some ways to do that. Now, one of our Learn, Do, Become community members named Mary posted this inspiring image and message in our free community Facebook group last week. And I have a link to that group here on the show notes page if you want to join it. And I just had to share it with you. So you can come to the show notes page to be able to see the actual image. But essentially, it's a screenshot of her phone home screen. And she has 5 squares, each a different color. And it represents her context-based next actions list. This means that their next actions, 10 minutes or less, organized by context or where you are when you're getting the list done. So hers are labeled at home, laptop, errands, to discuss, and then the final one is rest, relax, rejuve. I love it. Okay. So she shares how she made it and all of that on the post, and I have that linked. But here's what she wrote. I've been using a current projects and next actions list for a little over 2 weeks now. Here are the benefits I've noticed so far. 1, I'm calmer because I'm not worried about forgetting things. I don't forget things now because they are on one of the 2 lists, so my brain is not constantly worried about not forgetting something or trying to remember. This has added a huge amount of peace and calm to my day. I only have to remember to check my list or write it on my list when I think of it. Now, I want to pause for a moment and explain the list because when she talks about the 2 lists, but I just told you 5. Okay, so the 2 lists she's referring to are the current projects list and then the next actions list. The current projects list is where you have between 1 and 8 projects for the month that you're working on. And then the next actions list has those 5 contexts that she has on her home screen. So you take your current projects and you decide, which projects am I working on this week? What are my next actions? And then those next actions are placed on the next actions list, in addition to any one-off tasks that also fit into those contexts. And we have a free training to explain all that. I'll have it linked on the show notes page as well. So when she says, I only have to remember to just check my list, like during the day, you check your next actions list, you see, hey, any errands I need to run, anything I need to do on my laptop, that type of thing. Okay. All right. 2, I'm more in tune with my body and how I'm feeling. I check in with my next actions frequently throughout the day. Because of the categories, this check-in is actually a mental and physical check-in too. Do I have the physical or mental energy to do a 10-minute task? Or do I need a resting/replenishing task instead? 3, by listening to my body/how I'm feeling, I actually get more done during the day. Okay, now this is interesting. I want you to listen. The other day, I completed my daily routines loop by what felt like accident, just from breaking it up into 10-minute or less pieces and coming back to it when I had time. I'm completing my next actions list every week. It feels kind of weird that taking it slow and only working when I feel like it and lots of rest is actually helping me get more done. The mind shift change has also made a big difference in getting stuff done too. My next actions list is a choice list. And I purposely have a fun/relax category as a choice. 4, my self-efficacy, in parentheses, feeling like I can do this, is higher. All my tasks feel doable. I have the self-confidence to know that I don't have to feel guilty choosing to relax whenever I feel like it, because I will get the other things done later when I have the energy, just like I have the last few weeks. By choosing to allow myself to relax, I find I have more energy to get things done than I did when I tried to push through because I was, quote, supposed to do my work first. I've seen so many benefits from what looks like just a list on the surface. But the true benefits have been in all the beneficial mindset shifts that come with it. All right, so that's the end of Mary's post, which is awesome. Like, I could talk about this for an hour. It's amazing. But reading about Mary's experience gave me a lift because she hit on something that is rarely discussed in the productivity space. It's easy to believe that all the, successful people are high-octane performers all day, every day. In fact, just this morning when Eric and I were on a walk, I said, Eric, there's a lot going on in my heart right now. I'm thinking and processing, and I'm trying to come up with some solutions to the challenges I've been facing. It might look like I'm lazy, but I just need some space. And Eric paused for a moment and then said, hang on, April, who thinks you're being lazy? And I laughed a little bit and responded, well, no one, but I haven't gotten our newsletter out this week, and I haven't finished some of the projects we need to do. But I have just had so much on my mind, and I needed to rest more than usual this week. In fact, this morning, after we got Spencer off to school, I went downstairs, and I usually have my personal scripture time. And I was just so tired, and I thought, well, I'll just sit in this chair and I'll listen to this 20-minute audio that was, spiritual and inspiring. And then I thought, I'll just sit and breathe for a minute. Well, an hour and a half later, I opened my eyes. I'm like, I was really tired today. I'm doing the best I can. I thought I got plenty of sleep, but I was just tired. There's been a lot happening in my heart. And I'm kind of I guess you could define me as a sensitive person. And so things, they really affect me. I feel for people a lot, and I need time to think and process. So anyway, that's where I was feeling like I was kind of lazy. Anyway, okay. So then Eric and I had a really good conversation, and I just put here, on the show notes page, you can come read it if you want, just a few bullet points explaining what we talked about. We do want to do more podcasts together. We're trying to figure out the best way to do that. Anyway, I'm recording today, but hopefully he'll join us soon because I think it's better when we do it together. But here's what we talked about. First, that we all have high energy and low energy times and lots of moments in the middle. And it doesn't make sense to push ourselves to crazy extremes in order to prove our worth. Next, we just talked about one of the reasons that I personally have historically put a lot of pressure on myself is because I think I've believed from the beginning, since I was a little girl, that responsible people get lots of things done. And even when I know it's wiser to sit and rest, this little voice in my head often tells me that if I were more capable, I would be moving faster. So I'm trying to reprogram my brain to say that's not true. You don't have to move faster to prove you're capable. And there's nothing wrong with needing to sit and think. It's just that it seems like nobody does. Or no one needs to sit and think, or they don't talk about it, or they're embarrassed about it. I don't know. We don't hear about that enough. Another thing that Eric and I discussed was that we have to be really careful which voices we listen to. I have surrounded myself with a lot of go-getters over the past few years, which has been fun and motivating in many ways because I get lots of ideas and I enjoy their energy. However, I've also learned that many, but not all, people are go-getters because they are hungry for significance, addicted to praise and adoration, and or desperately seeking validation. And I don't want to fall into that trap, although admittedly I have sometimes in the past. Because you've probably learned this. Whenever you work for significance or praise or validation, etc., no amount will ever be enough. And one final thing Eric and I spoke about was that it's possible to architect a life that honors our humanness. And that's not weakness. I actually feel like that uses the best of our creativity when you can say, okay, what are the goals I have? What are the needs of my family? What are the needs of my community? What was I made to do? And how can I create a life? How can I architect a life that enables me to do all the things that are most important in a way that really does honor the fact that I have ups and downs. And speaking from a female perspective with my hormones and as I'm getting older, like I can't always predict that at a certain time I'm going to feel amazing. I really find if I can give myself latitude and grace, then I can work with my energy, but I don't always have to be on, And I love how Mary shared that she actually ends up getting more done when she works with her energy levels. And it's not because more is better, and it's not because she's pushing herself beyond her capacity. She's just noticing things just kind of automatically start getting done. And she didn't have to push herself. She didn't have to, use so much willpower and just get out there and make it happen. And, we hear about this grind and, go do it and use all this motivation to just get out there and conquer the world. And I was laughing with Eric. I'm like, when I went to high school, I conquered high school. I got all the points and all the grades and all the awards and everything that I thought I needed to win. And, everyone along the way told me how great I was. Oh, good job, April. Look at you being president and getting awards and, winning so many prizes, And I don't know that it was healthy for me then. And I definitely know it's not healthy for me now to have that mindset. So I'm just looking at how we still architect a life of excellence without having to be totally unhealthy. Now, there's this hymn that we sing at church called Praise to the Lord the Almighty. And if you aren't religious, please don't stress. I'm just sharing something that has been personally meaningful to me, and then you can just adjust the lesson to suit your needs, okay? But in that hymn, there's a line that says, "Hast thou not seen how all thou needest hath been granted in what he ordaineth?" And to me, that means that if we work with our humanness and align ourselves with our higher power, we'll end up with everything we really need. Years ago, when we had 2 little babies, 2 and under, and I was caring for our home and family full-time while Eric was in business school. And I wondered what kind of place I would have in the world. I had just graduated with my degree in communications, and there were a lot of competing voices in my sphere telling me what it meant to have a successful life, especially as a female, especially as a wife and a mother. But that line from that hymn, "Hast thou not seen how all thou needest hath been granted in what he ordaineth?" Those words kept coming back to my mind, and I decided that if I aligned myself with God and did what made sense each day, I could trust that over time I would be able to have all the things I needed and I wouldn't have to chase them or feel fearful along the way. And during that time, and every day since, I've had to make a lot of decisions regarding which paths to pursue. And often the decisions that made the most sense for my energy levels and my heart and my mental and physical health weren't the fanciest. And to be honest, there were a lot of times when I wondered if my work really mattered or if there would be anything significant about my life. Looking back, however, it's amazing to see what I would describe as the hand of God helping and guiding me at every step. Now, there are many ways people define that higher power that exists in each of our lives, and I genuinely love and respect the perspective of each member of our Learn to Become community. My hope, however, is that as a unified group, we will be wise with our energy, careful as we discern the best things to do each day, and gentle with ourselves as we evaluate our success and significance. And I know it seems like I talk about projects and lists a lot here, but it's not because I want everyone here to be productive powerhouses. It's because I know the pain that most people feel as they run in circles and try so hard to move faster and faster every day. And I know the discouragement that is often felt when we get tired and we can't, keep up. But I'm confident that there is a much better way. And what Mary described and how she's adjusting her next actions list and how she's moving forward, that just inspired me because that's exactly what we need more of in the world today. We need each other here to redefine what is normal and to help one another to set up our lives, our routines, our goals, and our lists so we can all consistently wake up excited and go to bed content. So that's all for today, but I do welcome you to come to the show notes page and share your respectful comments and contributions to this conversation. We really do benefit from one another, and I think we can help to change the culture so that we all know that we're significant and we all know that we matter. And it's not about how much we do, but we can work with that energy and with that humanness. All right, sending a huge hug. Love you so much. We'll see you soon at learndobecome.com.